أحد أنجح لاعبي البريمير ليج إن لم يكن أنجحهم على الإطلاق. هو عميد وأكبر لاعبي البريمير ليج. لعب في 21 موسما وسجل فيها جميعها. لعب بقميص مانشستر يونايتد أكثر من 900 مباراة ليكون أكثر لاعب مثل هذا النادي العظيم. اسمه بكل تأكيد رايان جيجز. During the early years, Ryan Giggs was compared to George Best. How does it feel now when young players, they are compared to Ryan Giggs?
Well, all I ever did was take it as a compliment, really. I think all players are different, have different styles, but if you get, for example, me, a young player coming into United at 17, playing on the wing, you're going to get compared to other wingers, so it never bothered me, but you know, hopefully it'll never bother other players if they get compared to me.
If you started your career now at 16, would you have the same opportunities that you had in 91 and 92?
I think so, yeah. I think so. I think it's different because when I come into the team, there was maybe 15, 16 first team players. So it was a few injuries, like my first game against Everton, we had a few injuries. I was straight in the team. Now it's slightly harder, 24, 25 players in a first team squad, but you know, you get different chances maybe in the Champions League or maybe in an FA Cup or a League Cup game. You get chances, so if you're good enough, then you know you'll find a way.
Stunning drive by a stunning player, Ryan Giggs.
Manchester United have developed a class of 92 and they still develop young players, but when you look around at other teams like Chelsea and Man City, they pay massive money to buy players into the team to win trophies. But how is that going to affect the younger players' development in these clubs, or even in Manchester United, if they start doing the same thing?
Yeah, I think it's hard because to have a good youth system and to develop young players, you need time, and sometimes managers aren't given time. Sometimes they're given, you know, 2 or 3 years to win trophies, otherwise they're out. So maybe they have to buy players, but it's obviously the ideal scenario would be having a balance where you bring in good players and you have good players coming through the youth system as well. It's not always possible because of the time that managers are given. But at Manchester United, we always try and get young players through who know the history, who know the heritage of what it means to play for Man United.
You never thought about leaving Manchester United, going to another club?
No, I think I've always been happy at Manchester.
Not even when you were sad or losing a game or losing a title?
No, because it makes you more hungry, you know, to win the title back. When you win a trophy, you celebrate and it lasts not very long. When you lose a trophy, it lasts the whole summer. You know, you're in a bad mood, you can't wait for the next season to end, next season to start, sorry. So the feeling of disappointment compared to the one of winning something is much stronger.
12 Premier League titles, 2 Champions League, and I think 4 FA Cup titles for Ryan Giggs. That makes you the most successful player in the history of the Premier League. How does that make you feel?
Until, you know, people like yourself mention it, I don't really think about it. I always look towards the future, and you know, when I retire, I'll look back on what I achieved and the trophies that I've won. But while I'm still playing, I'm always looking ahead.
Arsenal had a team of the so-called invincible team, and then Chelsea had a fantastic team, and then now Manchester City. Which team impressed you the most?
The team that was toughest to play against was definitely not the Invincibles for Arsenal, was the team before that. Overmars, Anelka, Bergkamp, Petit, Vieira. You know, they had everything. They had power, they had pace, they had obviously Bergkamp, who was a world-class player. They were probably the toughest team to play against.
Mourinho at Manchester United. A lot of people talking if Sir Alex Ferguson decides to retire, that the Mourinho can be the successful manager to succeed Sir Alex Ferguson. Do you agree with that?
No, I think when the manager finally does decide to retire, I think lots of managers are going to get linked. It all depends on the timing, really. The likes of Mourinho, Guardiola, all top managers are going to get linked with the United job. But it just depends when it is, I think, and whether it coincides with a manager that's free or is prepared to leave the club that they're at.
You had a chance to choose between Wales and England to play, and to go into a tournament and play in the biggest tournament like World Cup or Euro Cup. Was that true?
No, it wasn't. I could have only really played for Wales. The confusion comes is when I was 14, I played for England schoolboys because I went to an English school. Because I moved from Wales to England when I was 7, so I grew up more or less really in Manchester. Now the rules are different. If you live in a place for so long, you can play for that country. Back then, it was 1991. The rules were completely different then. You had to have sort of a relative who was English. All my relatives are Welsh. So other than me living in England and playing for England schoolboys, I had no really allegiance to England, but because I played for England schoolboys, a lot of people think that you could have chose England, but I couldn't, and I wouldn't anyway because I was Welsh, 100%.
Once you retire and you're done with football, do you think about going to coaching or management?
Yeah, I think about it more and more, and myself and Gary Neville at the moment are doing our coaching badges together. So we've done our A licence. We've just got one more to do, which we hope to do in the summer. So yeah, I'm preparing myself as much as I can for life after playing.
Giggs, Curl's playing him onside. Ryan Giggs, unbelievable.
If you had a time machine right now, would you rather go and start playing again since you were 16?
No, I think it's someone else's turn. I've had my career and I wouldn't change it. Of course, it's a great career, and as a 16, 17-year-old, you have so much to look forward to. But I wouldn't change it because I've had a great career, and it's someone else's turn now.